I want to do a review of an HDMI switcher I just bought. It's the only one that I've come across so far that actually works for video game consoles. So this is what it looks like. It says HDMI selector 8x1, 3D Full HD. Now it's only 1080p, doesn't support 4K. It seems like I haven't seen any that are more than 5 ports that do 4K yet, but I'm sure within the course of the next year they'll start popping up. I'm not too worried about it though because right now video game consoles don't even do 4K. Really, the only thing you can do in 4K is like watch Netflix, and there are 4K Blu-rays coming out, but you can just plug your Blu-ray player directly into your TV. I can't imagine you'd have 8 sources that all use 4K. So the old one I was using looks like this. It's much smaller. This guy here, these ones are very cheap. They're about $8 or $9 on eBay. You can see it. The camera doesn't really want to focus very well. Oh, here we go. So you can see it has like input 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is only a 5-port. Basically, it has a little button you can press to switch between the sources, and it has like the outputs in the middle, and it's got like input 1 and 5, and then 2, 3, and 4 are on the other side. One of the reasons that I went with this one though is like this. There's an input, power input, but see IR, it looks like a headphone jack. It's a regular 3.5 millimeter or 1/8 inch connector, like a pair of headphones would use. And so it comes with a little IR receiver that's got like a 3-foot cord on it that you can plug into here. So what I would do, this is actually an extra one that I bought. I have a few of these because they kept breaking after a few days. I had it Velcroed up behind my TV. Like I'd put the Velcro on here and I'd just stick it on the back of the TV. And then I would run the IR and I'd put the little receiver right in front of right under where the real TV's power source is. That's the only thing I don't like about this one, and I'll show you that in a minute. So you see on the back here, you have your DC 5-volt input. It's a bigger barrel than the other one, but it's still 5 volts. So this particular one comes with a wall wart. And for those who don't know that term, it's basically like the big brick-looking plug that you plug into the wall. But since it's 5 volts, that means you could use USB. If you were to find a USB that uses this size barrel, you could plug it into just a regular USB power. So this one's got your output all the way here on the right, HDMI out. I don't know why the camera keeps refocusing. Then your inputs basically go from right to left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's all there is to the back part. So on the front, you have your LEDs that light up, similar to this one, how it has the 5 LEDs, right? So this one's got 8. It has, each of the inputs has an LED that lights up. And then there's a power, another one that lights up if it's turned on in general. Then you have this button here to switch between the sources. Now the only complaint I have about this model is the IR is built in. You see, it's just a little thing in the front of it. So what that means is that you can't discreetly hide it behind your TV or somewhere else, like in the room. You have to have this accessible, like so that if you're sitting in front of the TV, you can, use the remote. However, there are extenders that they make. Basically, what they do, you plug one end into a USB port to power it. Then the other end, you put one end in front of the TV, and then the other end basically like by your source, like this, and it's maybe like a 6-foot cable that you can, route neatly and get out of the way. So I'm going to end up using one of those with this, okay? Now, I've actually gone ahead and taken the screws out of this to show you guys what's on the inside. On the bottom here, it has these little rubber feet. And the nice thing about these is there are screws in here too. So like, if you want to Velcro it to the back of your TV, which is what I'm going to do, you can just unscrew these like this, and they just come right off. And it doesn't affect, the stability of this. Like, it's not going to become flimsy if you do that, because there are separate screws on the side, which I've taken out for this video. Now, something to note as well, this is some pretty high-quality metal here. I mean, you can hear it's actually like steel or some sort of a metal alloy. This one, this little cheapy one, is plastic. Not that it really matters much. Like, I don't care what the outside is made of. But this is only about as heavy as, like, say, oh, I don't know, like, I can't really relate. Maybe, like, I don't know, a couple DVDs or something. I mean, it's very light. So you can easily Velcro this. This one, I'm actually hesitating to Velcro because it's so heavy, being made of metal, that I don't want it to end up, like, falling off. But let's go ahead and take the top off here. So this, honestly, this top right here, this lid, is like half the weight. Just this piece. And you could probably mount it without this. Like, if you want to Velcro, you can just take the lid off. It's just that you'll end up getting dust and stuff if you do that. So the inside here, you can see the HD Play. This is like, I don't know if that's like the revision number here. HS801V1. But basically you've got a few little computer chips, like 5 of them, okay? And I'm not like a computer engineer, so I couldn't tell you what they actually do, you know, but there isn't like one central processor. It looks like they're just 5 little chips here, and then you've got your LEDs, your IR, all that, and then this side here, you've got your HDMIs and the power brick. So I'm going to go ahead and hook this guy up to the TV, and I'll show you what it's like when it's in use. A couple nice things about this before I hook it up, other than the fact that it's got 8 ports instead of 5, which is really cool. It doesn't do auto selection, which could be good or bad depending on what you're trying to do. I find the auto selection incredibly annoying, and so do a lot of others. This little one, what it does is it tries to be smart. So, like, if you have 5 things plugged in, right, under normal circumstances, you're not going to have all 5 devices turned on at the same time. So if you turn on one of your systems, it'll automatically jump to that input. And then what it does, if you press, say you're using the remote and you press like input 2, but input 2 is powered off, what it'll do is it'll actually fight you on it, and it won't jump to input 2 because it says, oh, there's no signal, I'm just going to stay where I am, and it won't do anything. This one will actually let you like pre-tune. Like, you can go input 1 through 8, even if there's nothing plugged in, and it'll just sit there. It'll give you a no signal on your TV, but it's nice because if you're like rebooting your console for an update or something, this one will start jumping around. Like, your Xbox One will turn off and it'll jump to the Xbox 360 or whatever. Like, this will just stay where it's at. So this is what the remote looks like. I'm actually going to end up just converting this. I'm going to program it into my Logitech Harmony and write some macros so I don't have to use the raw buttons. But you basically have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 buttons here. And then these are a plus and minus. So just like if you don't want to use the numbers, if you just want to like if you forget what number it's on, you can just go up or down, I guess. And it uses 2 AAA batteries, a tiny little remote. So yeah, I mean, that's that. So I'm going to go hook this up to the TV, show you it in action. So I have it hooked up on my TV now. You can see I have the PlayStation 4 displaying in 1080p here. And I have the switch just for now until I can route the remote, the IR command. I have it mounted here, so you'll see if I use the remote to flip through the sources, it does that. But see, so like, right now I have nothing plugged into input 8. But you see, I can actually use input 8. Like, I can just do that and assign it. It'll flash, and then the TV will say no signal. But, like, it actually stays at input 8. The auto-switching ones don't do that. So if I switch it back to 1, which is the PS4, just coincidentally, I plugged them in just a random order. Okay, so let me grab my TV remote here just to show you that it is, in fact, doing 1080p. So, you see that? Okay. So that is displaying the way it should. The PS4 was actually one of the things that just did not work on that other Switch. It worked fine, and then I got the PS4 on Black Friday, and I plugged it into the little Switch, and it just didn't show up. Like, it literally just did not display anything. I don't know if the PlayStation 4 was using a newer HDMI color scheme or something like that, but this system is what convinced me to upgrade my HDMI switcher. The PS3 also had some issues, but it works perfectly on this one as well. So I'll go ahead and switch to input 2. Now there is a little bit of a lag, but it's only what was that, like 4 seconds? So it's really not too big of a deal. The PS3 had weird spotty color issues, which I'll show you momentarily, but you can see here, I mean, it's nice, crisp, and clear. I mean, everything looks... Can't really show you any better than this, but, like, there's no weird issues with the picture. It looks exactly the way that you would expect it to look. And, again, all of my consoles are set to 1080p. Okay. Go to the next source, Wii U. Again, just randomly plugged in. Okay. Nintendo does things a little differently, but there you go. That shows up. Go to input 4. There's my Xbox 360. And then, lastly, input 5. My Xbox One. Now, actually, I also have a 720p source for you. This little guy here, the PlayStation TV. This little thing that's like the size of a credit card. It's tiny, even smaller than the newer Apple TVs. You plug it into like a USB power in your HDMI. Now, because I had it sitting on my desk for so long unplugged, it lost its like time, and it wants me to reset it. But you can see it still shows up fine. This one though, because it's for playing PlayStation Vita games, it only does 720p. So there's that. Because the PlayStation Vita only has a resolution of like 544 anyway. So I think it's upscaling or something, but yeah, it's a 720p device. So there's 6 different video game systems. They all work perfectly on the Switch. Yeah, hopefully that helps. If anyone's thinking of buying one of these, and I will have a link in the description to the exact one that I bought. Can't guarantee if you're watching this video like a year from now that the same seller is still going to have them for sale. But at least like for the foreseeable future, I'm sure they'll have them. The guy had tons of them on his store. So, yeah, I mean, really the delay isn't too bad, and it seems to be actually a lot shorter for the Sony systems. Like, you notice between going between the PS3 and PS4, it's like all of 4 seconds maybe. Like, it's pretty quick. The Xboxes seem to take a little bit longer. I don't know why. Could have to do with handshaking or something. I really don't. I don't know. I'd have to look into it. It takes an extra... Actually, maybe not. Maybe I'm just imagining it. But still. It's like 5 seconds. Really not a big deal. You know? I mean, this Switch cost me $47, I want to say. $47 or $48. The alternative, if you want 8 ports input, would be like... something from AMX or Crestron, and those things are like over $1,000. So, I mean, okay, you can pay like 20 times the price to get one that's slightly faster and doesn't take 5 seconds between sources, but you know what? For the money, it's a really good product. I mean, I really don't know how else to show this to you other than just showing you that all my sources work perfectly fine on this TV. And this is well, it's not brand new. I've had it about 6 months now, but it's a 2015 Samsung 4K 3D. I mean, all the bells and whistles. It's like the top of the line one that they made back in July. So, yeah, I mean, everything seems to be working great. And now I will momentarily, I'll turn the camera off again and hook the old Switch up temporarily just to show you what was happening on the PS3. Like I said, the PS4 wouldn't show up at all. Like, it would just act like there was nothing plugged in. And the TV said no signal. Like, I don't know what it is, but that little 5-port switcher just didn't like the signal. But the PS3 would show up and be very weird looking. That's the only way I can explain it. So I'll just go ahead and hook it up and show you real quick. And for some more technical notes on this thing, see the description, and I'll get a little bit more in depth on some of the aspects I've noticed about this. But yeah, hopefully this video review helps some of you out that are looking for a way to plug in lots of video game systems to a TV. I mean, for less than $50, it's a pretty good little thing, and it does up to 8 sources. Supposedly supports 3D, but I really don't have. I mean, I guess I could hook up my Blu-ray player and like try watching a 3D movie. But other than that, I don't think any of my consoles have any 3D games that I own that I could try anyway. And I'm not really. I mean, whatever, but yeah, it does support 1080p 60 frames per second, so it's pretty good. Slightly outdated now, but like I said, nothing's really using 4K yet, so you can always get a 4K TV, buy one of these Switches, and then in a few years when the 4K ones are cheap, upgrade to one of those and keep your TV. So, yeah, thanks for watching, guys.